Good morning, everyone, and welcome to freedailycoaching.com. Special guest host today, and super excited to be able to introduce to you our Tuesday guest host series. This week is actually a fun, special week. You're going to have two guest hosts. We're going to have another guest host on Thursday as well. But this morning, we're going to be speaking with a marketer that you guys may or may not know. If you don't know Mr. Tom Leonard, then what I would suggest you do is go out and find him on Facebook. I'm sure he'll tell you at some point during the morning where you can go over to Facebook and connect with him. What I want to tell you guys is how to get results is not complicated, okay? And you can make it even less complicated by taking action. And that's what our guest host this morning actually did, and that's why he's guest hosting. He went through some training. He did a couple different trainings. He saw something that he liked, something that spoke to him, and then he went and took action. He went and took some action right away and got some results, and he's willing to share that with you guys. And the thing that I've learned about working with Tom and communicating with Tom over these last few weeks and getting to know Tom is that he's willing to share, right? And that's a big deal. He's willing to share what it is that he's learned with you. So I want you to take a moment this morning, get focused. Maybe you're watching this back on a YouTube channel or a Google Plus replay. Take the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, okay, and get focused. Turn off everything. Get focused, turn your email off, you can read it in a little bit, turn your phone off for a few minutes, and focus in on a great training this morning. And what Tom's going to do is he's going to show you some things that he's been doing with Twitter. And so I'm going to jump over to a rising star, a new Facebook marketer, a really just a great guy that you can really communicate with easily and effectively, and someone that's willing to show you what he's doing. So without any further ado, I am going to introduce to you this morning our Tuesday series guest host here at Free Daily Coaching, Mr. Tom Leonard. Tom, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks, Bert. Thanks for the introduction there. Yeah, it's always good to hear good words early in the morning here like this. Yeah, one of the things on sharing, I thought that was interesting you brought that up. One of the reasons, I like to share, but one of the things I find is that sharing reinforces it for myself. So if I am going to share something just like this presentation today, I have to put it in words, I have to write it down, then it starts to gel with me, I start to understand it better. So it's not only giving away, but it's getting something back.
Awesome. Well, Tom, based on that, I'm going to go ahead and shut my camera off, and I'm going to let you go ahead and do your screen share, and I'll let you know that it's working, and then I'll mute up.
Okay, yeah. What we want to, let's see, make sure that Windows 8 is playing nicely here this morning. Is it showing up there?
It is.
Okay. So what I want to talk today about is what I'm calling the compound effect meets Twitter. And the tagline here is how I'm on track to talk to 1,617 people, generate 333 leads, and make $9,382 in 100 days, which sounds really good. Let me show you what the blueprint is for this. A little bit of my story. I actually grew up in Wyoming, small town in Wyoming, realized you didn't have to live where it snowed all the time, so I escaped to Southern California. In the meantime, I joined the Peace Corps. I was in Fiji, a real hardship location, for 2 years, which was a great experience. Came back, went to the Stanford Graduate School of Business, got an MBA there, and then started working in finance and marketing for large corporations. Started out in retailing, went to high tech, on the manufacturing side and on the software side, and then entertainment, high tech. I was at Netflix and Netscape and AOL Entertainment. I spent the last 4 years over here 8 blocks from home at Warner Brothers. Meantime, I was also doing some entrepreneur things. I was working on affiliate programs and pay-per-click back when Google AdWords just launched and you could buy keywords for just pennies. which was great. And also I've done a lot of email marketing. My network marketing story really started a few years back. The MLM that I'm involved with is health and wellness. I've always toyed around with it on the side for a few years. Kind of friend of the family got me into it, and she works at the very top of the company, which is a great perspective for someone coming in. She really makes the kind of money that everyone here talks about, the seven-figure sort of thing. And so it's a really good role model, a really good person to learn from. But what I figured out was she built her entire program. She's been in it for 40 years, built her entire program offline without the internet. So I knew all these things to do online. So I was like, hey, how can I put that together? How can I use my online marketing experience and apply it to network marketing? And that's one of the things that led me to MLSP. Twitter. Everyone knows how big Twitter is. I don't need to explain any statistics on that. Everyone knows. Went to a recent webinar. Terry Grimeau explained a few things that really hit me. And the first thing was how to use Twitter for building relationships. A lot of times you start on Twitter and you think, I just want the biggest number of followers I can get, and I just want to be able to send them links and everything will work out great. But Terry really showed another direction. Build relationships. Use it as a communication device. His advice is to always give value, which is great. That's one of the things that you want to concentrate on. And then he was like, you talk to 5 to 10 people a day. Be consistent, always give value, you'll build a business. And I realized that I was recruited into MLSP on Twitter. So I knew that it worked. And this made sense to me. This was something that I could do. So the compound effect. This is a book written by Darren Hardy. Most people are probably already familiar with it. And if you're not, it's really a great thing to become more familiar with. And basically the story, the idea behind the compound effect is that small actions done repeatedly over a long period of time will result in monumental outcomes. It's really pretty simple. Works just like with the diet. If you eat more consistently every day, you're going to gain a lot of weight over time. If you eat a little bit less every day over a long period of time, you're going to lose a lot of weight. So this is a great principle, but how can it be applied to network marketing? So go back to what Terry was talking about on Twitter. He said talk to 5, then 10 quality people a day. So if you're consistent with this, you're going to have a tremendous business. But what if you apply the compound effect? Instead of talking to just 10 people a day, what if next week we talk to 11 people? And the week after that, you will talk to 12 people. And the week after that, you talk to 13, and so on. If you do the math, in 100 days, 14 weeks, you'll now be talking to 23 people a day on Twitter with a total audience of 1,617 people. Would that make a difference in your business? Now, add in the leads and conversions. Let's say you start out generating 1 lead for every 5 conversions, 20%. I think that's a reasonable goal to shoot for. And then, what if you bring in the compound effect? Instead of 20%, what if you increase it by 0.1% each week? Not bad. But after 100 days, you'll have 333 leads to work with. Now, let's say if you convert 5% of those leads to an actual sale, and you see where this is coming, where this is going, and then we increase that conversion rate by 0.1% each week. You'll have 19 customers, and if each one of those brings in $500 in revenue, your total income will be $9,300. So what I'm saying here is that the compound effect, just by adding just a little bit, a few more people, and increasing your conversion rate a little bit each week, and you're going to be getting some really good results. That's the compound effect. So you can have all kinds of nice charts showing things really going up and really making progress over the 100 days, over the 14 weeks. But this is great news, but then where do you find those 10 quality leads a day? So what I found is there are 3 sources of Twitter conversations. Search, which is something that Terry explained, but I also include following, and follow up. Let me go into more detail. Search. What you do in search is you just go up to the search bar or use the go to search.twitter.com, and you're going to see you're going to be able to search on anything. Use quotation marks, and you're going to be able to do search for phrases. So just start searching for terms that are appropriate for your audience, depending on if you're looking for lead generation, people in home-based businesses. Just one of the things I always do is I think, how would someone find me? And what is it that I would be out there searching on and talking about? And that's in search for that. Search is a pretty interesting thing on Twitter, actually, because one of the things that you find when you start using it more, what I found in using it more, was that people are searching for things that I'm talking about. I put up a post for, someone put up some turkey burgers, and they actually look good. I was like, wow, now I'm hungry. Boom, I started getting like all these panini restaurants here in Burbank or in Southern California were starting to follow me and send me coupons. And I really liked that. I was like, wow, these guys are really sharp. They know what they're doing. I did one that wasn't quite as pleasant. There was a woman who was doing her health and wellness, and she had something about some kind of sore, and on her post, and I retweeted that to start talking to her. Boy, I had all kinds of acne-related people coming in and finding me, and that wasn't that wasn't so great. But what it showed me is that here are people that are out there using Twitter search to identify people that might be interested. So search both profiles and tweets. You can search the messages. What are people talking about? But also look for the profiles, what people say about themselves. And then here's the key. You follow, mention, favorite, and retweet to get on their radar. So once I identify someone, I just go out there and I'll follow them. If they start talking to me, I'll mention them. I always favorite the post that I like. I don't just favorite everything. I want to make sure that it's an intelligent conversation. Then I retweet. Every time you do any of those 4 activities, you show up in their notifications. You're on their radar. Then have a real conversation. Be personal, just like it was, just like it was face to face. And then you can look for them on Facebook as well. But search is really powerful. But I wanted to take it a step further. And so what I want to do is, what I started doing was following followers. So I went out there and looked at accounts of people that I thought would attract the kind of people that I would want to be talking to. Then I started going out there looking at their follower base. Twitter lets you do this. And so I was able to identify people to start talking to. The ones so far that have gotten to be the most productive are, I'll go out to trade schools. People who are following a trade school account are probably looking for a small business experience. Home-based business experts, of course, that's going to be good. I also found that affiliate accounts. So someone that is following an affiliate program is probably someone that is in the space that I want to be talking to. But you just be creative. You look for as many as you want. It's free. Then you start to follow their followers. So you look for active users who are potential leads, such as moms, social interns. Just focus your audience. You know who it is that you want to be talking to, who you would like to be talking to. I go for personal accounts, not business accounts. If it has a logo in the image, I'd skip it. I want to talk to a person. And usually go for people with fewer than 10,000 followers, but more than 500. So it kind of puts it in the range that seems to be the most productive for me. One of the things I do though with the really large accounts is really large Twitter accounts that have 50, 60, 100, 200,000 followers. What I'll do with those guys that has been reasonably successful, I'll go out and I will, especially if they have a podcast, I will go out and, because they usually do, I'll go out to the podcast, I'll find an episode, I'll listen to it, I'll go back to Twitter, and I'll put up a tweet and mention them and say, wow, that was a great podcast. I really liked so-and-so that was your guest. You have a great show. Can't wait to see more. Broken down to 140 characters, of course. They almost always come back with a message, and a lot of times they'll retweet it to their 200,000 followers. So I find that to be a productive use there. Use tweepy.com to find these accounts to follow. Tweepy is free, and I've also been using Flutter app, which is another service, which is, I'm on the free trial right now. It's $10 a month, but it looks really good. Then just as with search, you follow, mention, favorite, and retweet to get on their radar. Now, the next step is follow up. So what you want to do is you want to set up a series of conversations. You don't want to hang everything on that first series of conversations of getting to know them and bringing them down the line to get an exposure. That's always great. That's a good objective to have. But I approach it as a way of going and having a series of conversations. So how do I set up a series of conversations? What I do is I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I go through every day, and I just sit here and start having conversations. Every time I have a conversation, I'll mark someone down for an X. If I can develop an exposure, they turn into an EX. For a follow-up, an FU, and for a soft follow-up, an F. And so I just sit down, and my goal here is starting out is, if we're talking about 10 people a day, moving on to 11 and to 12 and so on, and just keep building up from there. And I just put each day in a column, and then in the first column, what I do is I put the Twitter name and I make it a link over to their Twitter profile, so it's easy to get back to them. So what I'll do every day, I go back 2 days before everyone that I had a conversation with. I've got their link. I go and look at their Twitter profile. I start over again. I get on their radar again. Usually I'll look and see if they're active, and if they say something, I'll retweet it, because I want to turn that's what I call soft follow-up to another conversation, and so on. So it's just going down that process. The objective of all these conversations is to have an exposure of your business opportunity, whatever that is, or affiliate program, and a phone conversation, which I'm finding out is easier to do than I ever would have thought. To be successful, you want to show that you're a real person, build trust, be patient and consistent, and as Terry always said, give value out there. So, review. This plan shows you that you can talk to 1,617 people, generate 333 leads, make $9,382 in 100 days. I know it works. So far, I've had success with this plan. So, looking back, when I was talking about, I started, 10 people a day. Well, pretty soon you're going to be talking to 20 people a day on there. Is that going to be hard? It's like, not at all. What I found is right now I'm having conversations with about up to 25 people, real conversations with 25 people a day, most of them before noon. So it's not a huge time-consuming thing, so I can concentrate on the follow-up and the exposure. But I'm just amazed, and I can see that I'm already at the 14-week level of my compound effect plan. It is surprisingly easy to do. The other thing that you'll do is you'll figure out. You'll get better on focusing on the right people. So then work at all this lead. Think big. And this is where the compound effect goes wild. At the end of 6 months, you will have had 4,950 conversations, 868 leads, and $26,000 in revenue. That's the end of 6 months. It's about double of the original numbers as far as time. But the revenue is a lot more than double. But look what happens after a year. You stuck with this a year, you will have had 13,000 conversations, almost 3,000 leads, and $110,000 in revenue. Compound effect just does wonders there. And you'd be surprised that that's not, I think that's talking like 60 people a day. Not a problem. You can do it. And all this is from starting out with talking to 10 quality people a day on Twitter and using the compound effect. Is it worth it? I really would like to send a copy of this to everyone that's listening here, listening on a later broadcast. But this is what I would like you to do in order to get it, to get you started on this. What you can do, go to Twitter and follow me at @1fasttrack. That's my name on Twitter. 1, the number 1, fast track, FASTTRACK. So follow me, and then you start a conversation with me. If you follow me and expect me to pounce on you, I probably will pounce on you, because anyone that follows me, I usually start a conversation with. I want you to start a conversation with me. Once we have that conversation, I'll get your contact information. All in my contact information is down below here. I would put any of that in any tweet in public. I always go for public and not for direct messages, because no one ever gets to see direct messages except the other person. The only thing I wouldn't put in a tweet, in a public tweet, is the email address. Just, it doesn't need to be out there any more than it already is. All the other stuff you want out there in tweets. You want people to come across it. When you're talking about starting a conversation, just think of how you start a conversation with someone in public, someone face to face. One of the things that I do, I'll always ask how someone's week is. They'll follow me. I'll go back. I'll look, see where they're from, and I'll say, "Oh, hey, I'm from LA too. I see you're from Southern California." Or if they're from Australia, I've been there once, sort of thing. And so mention something and say, "Hey, how's your week been? How's your weekend going?" And some kind of open-ended question like that. And what you find is that the people come back and say, "Well, it's been kind of a bad week." It's like the conversation usually doesn't go too far. But it's like, great, this has just been an amazing week and it's just getting started. It's like, oh, okay, here's someone that has a real positive attitude and you want to be talking to them. So conversations are not hard to put together. So if you want a copy of this, you know how to do it. Send me a message at OneFastTrack and start a conversation and get started. So there, it's back to me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Great job. Sorry about my background, guys. I'm packing for an event, so there's clothes hanging over my chair here. What an amazing presentation that you just put together, Tom. Some great information, really some stuff that everyone can go out and apply right away. Well done, sir. Put together, amazing, guys. That was some huge value on the free daily coaching call. That's what's exciting. You get to come and meet new people like Tom that just put together literally a quick start guide for how to rip it up on Twitter. So this is absolutely phenomenal, Tom. That was really well done, sir. Really excited. I hope that you guys that are attending, or maybe you're watching this replay, connect with Tom, plug in with him, and get going. Start using Twitter, right? There's another social platform that you now have access to that you can really start to rock, and Tom just showed you how to get a quick start. So thank you so much, Tom, for doing that this morning.
The one key to it that is the most important thing in there is what is the line of, "I saw that I could do it." This wasn't something that someone else had to, I had to start paying money. It's like, it just clicked. It's like, hey, I can do that. And what I figured out is that I really can. And that's why I would encourage everyone to give it a try.
Absolutely. That's the cool part. It's the fun part about this whole thing is that, you're just a normal guy, just like, you're just a regular guy that was like, hey, I'm going to go try this. And it worked. And you're getting results. And that's absolutely amazing. So everyone, go connect with Tom, get plugged in and grab this if you want more of the information that he's got. If you want to connect with him, grab one of those links. The thing that I'm going to suggest that you do this afternoon, and I'm going to send you a link to in just a moment here, is come over to the Ultimate Freedom webinar that MLSP hosts every Tuesday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's usually hosted by my friend and mentor, Mrs. Diane Hockman, and she's actually traveling today. And so I've been given the privilege to host that webinar. So today I will be in a spot where I'll be able to connect to the internet, and I will be hosting that webinar. So please come over to the Ultimate Freedom webinar this afternoon and hang out with us. It'll be an hour long. It'll be MLSP. It'll be a free-for-all for all of you. So come on over and join us. Thank you again, Tom. Super, super excited. That was a great call. Tom, connect with me later, and we'll get you the raw footage of this too for your channel. And then everyone, be aware that Thursday and Friday I'll be out of town. Friday I'm going to do an early morning from a live event, but Thursday I'll be traveling. I'll literally be on the road. And so Thursday morning we're going to have a guest host, and Mr. Phil Aguilar has raised his hand and offered to come over on Thursday and do another guest hosting spot. So free daily coaching each and every day, 10:30 a.m. This week we'll have some extra guest hosts. Next week I'm sure we will as well. Don't forget today, 3 p.m. Eastern, Ultimate Freedom webinar. I'll send you a link in just a moment here. Thank you again, Tom, and I hope everyone has an awesome day. I know I'm going to go out and try to meet some people on Twitter, and I'm going to use Tom's methods. So thank you so much, Tom.
Anytime.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you all on the next freedailycoaching.com call tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.